All right, it's 7:01 p.m. We're going to begin this regular meeting of the Rutherford Board of Education, April 27, 2026. I'm going to ask everyone to please stand, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask Mr. Kelly, welcome back, to please take roll.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. Mr. Bogosian?
Present.
Mrs. Cates? Ms. Cates, excuse me.
Here.
Mrs. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Conti?
Present.
Mr. Healy?
Here.
Mrs. Jones?
Present.
Dr. Racine?
Here.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Present.
Dr. Olati?
Here.
Ms. Iorio?
Here.
You have a quorum.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any businesses affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Rutherford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted on the bulletin board outside the Borough Clerk's office, mailed to the Herald, South Bergenite, and the Record newspapers, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Hard copies of the agenda are available in the meeting room, and the agenda is posted electronically on Friday before the meeting date on the district's website at www.rutherfordschools.org. Subsequent to the meeting, a video of the meeting will be uploaded to the district's website, www.rutherfordschools.org. The video link can be found by opening the Board of Education link and clicking on Public Meetings and then Videos. So board members, in your packets, there are minutes to approve from the regular meeting and executive session of April 6, 2026. Are there any questions or comments about those sets of minutes? Seeing none, I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please enter those into the record. And we are going to start with the report of our student representative, Ms. Iorio.
Good evening. Everyone is feeling really energized today after a nice break. Many students are busy preparing for their AP exams now that we're back in school, which are starting next week. Spring sports have been going really well with all the athletes working really hard. Senior nights will be happening in the coming weeks to celebrate all of the senior athletes' achievements. Before break, RHS hosted its 42nd annual Pop Cert. The student performers had a lot of fun showing off their talents, and the attendees really enjoyed the show. Washington School had Discovery Day before break, and many RHS students from Heroes and Cool Kids volunteered to help out and had a lot of fun doing different science activities with the elementary students. The Regional Consumer Bowl competition happened over spring break. Unfortunately, we weren't able to bring home the trophy, but it was still fun to reflect on everything we've learned over the course of the year. Some more business students will be competing in a brand new competition called AI in Accounting next week, which is being hosted for the first time by a local CPA. Students have been studying different practice questions related to accounting and how AI will be impacting it in the future. The junior class has started selling bagels on Friday mornings as a fun way to raise money for their class. This Friday, May 1st, is Decision Day, where the seniors will be announcing their plans for next year by wearing merch from their college or trade school and signing the board outside of the guidance office. The National Honor Society and World Language Honor Societies have their inductions coming up next week. They will be honoring their new members with a ceremony. And lastly, the spring choir and band concert is coming up in May, where the music students will be able to showcase what they've learned throughout the school year. So that's all for tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments from board members?
As usual, a great report.
Thank you.
All right, well, you are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we understand if you have commitments, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, too.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to move now to a special presentation, which is the public hearing for the 2026-2027 school year. And just a reminder that at the last board meeting, actually I think it was at 2 board meetings, Mr. Whitford, as the BA, went through with us strategy and all the drivers for the budget that was in consideration for next year. And I want to just echo thanks to the Finance Committee for all of your hard work behind the scenes and really looking at not only what are the priorities of the district, but how do we make sure we continue to be fiscally prudent, just given, you know, the challenges of the landscape that we've been talking about now for a number of weeks and months. So with that, Mr. Kelly is going to walk us through the public hearing. I'm sure Mr. Hurley will weigh in toward the end. So turn your attention to the screen and I will move out of the way.
Thank you, Dr. Olotti. So this is very similar to the last presentation you saw back in the middle of March, so we'll get through this pretty quickly. In preparing the budget, we always start with identifying the board goals and the board's objectives in developing the budget, what the board hopes to accomplish in the following year. This year, you see there are 4 of them. Student achievement and portrait of a graduate, maintain and build upon current program offerings, community outreach and climate and culture surveys, and as always, to provide for facilities improvements, maintenance, and repairs. Some of our challenges this year, inflationary pressures, health insurance premiums, as you've read, have gone up. This says over 50%. I've heard it's closer to 65% over the last several years. And this is impacting every district that's in the health benefits, the state health benefits plan. And sadly for them, a lot of those districts have to have layoffs. They have to cut programs. We're not in that position right now. And I'll get into why and what we've been able to do to save our programs. Out-of-district tuition and services and transportation, those are an issue every year. We have an obligation to provide for students who need special services. So we have to build that into the budget. And those costs per students, of course, are a lot higher than for a regular ed student. Utilities and maintenance. Utilities, as you know, have been a bit volatile the last few months, and they may continue to be. We have not related to the budget, but we have a couple motions for the board to consider tonight on energy auctions for gas and for electricity. So we'll see what's out there on the marketplace, and those happen tomorrow.
If I could, the health insurance premium has probably gone up closer, you're right, probably closer to 60% in the last 3 years. And this year we were told by the broker that we use that we should plan on a 30% increase. And that would be a 2.9 million. See, percentages mean one thing, but when you hear dollars, that would be a $2.9 million increase to the health benefit, which would be approximately triple the amount of money that we could raise through the tax levy, just to that increase. It is a statewide problem, as Mr. Kelly said. Fair Lawn tried to get out, or did get out of the state health plan, which we have tried to do, but we can't because of the rating we have with the number of what they're paying out versus what they're taking in, despite the fact they're taking in so much. And Fair Lawn found out that their private plan went up 39% in this year. So it is a systemic statewide problem that we have to face. The allowable increase that you're going to hear about, which the state would give you the option to increase the tax levy to, in theory, pay the health insurance increase, comes up to be about 80 cents or less on the dollar, and it still leaves you with about $450,000 to $475,000 deficit. So it is a problem. Out-of-district tuition, we have fewer kids out of district now than we've had probably in the last 5 years because we have created programs in district to try to keep kids here because it's better for them, and it's obviously better from the budget. But despite the fact that we have fewer kids out, the tuitions being raised by the out-of-district schools has gone up approximately $450,000 this coming projected for next year. Well, not projected, we actually know about the increases. So those two items alone have brought up over a $3 million increase to the budget.
Just anecdotally on the health benefits, I went into this state of New Jersey's website to look at our history, what our invoice history is for health premiums over the last 13 months. 13 months ago, we were about $750,000 a month. Now we're up to $950,000 a month. So it's gone up $200,000 a month. That's $2.5 million a year. Obviously, it's not sustainable. We're doing the best we can, but this is an issue, and it will continue to be an issue. So.
And one last thing, I'll say what I said at the end of the meeting, more at the beginning of the last meeting, where we had the preliminary budget hearing. It's not every district is going through this, and every municipality is going through this. And there are places, West Milford's closing a school, districts are laying off 30, 40 staff, which means they're cutting programs and academic and programs for kids. It is not a problem that Rutherford or Bergen County or any district can solve. It is a statewide problem, and they keep talking about, in Trenton, they keep talking about looking at the school aid formula. They keep talking about looking at revising how they fund programs, but all they're doing is talking about it. So it is a problem that we're all dealing with, and quite frankly, with the hard work that Dr. Eladi mentioned of the board and the BA and the administrators, we are able to make minor cuts and tighten our belts and find a way to make it work, but we are running out of holes on the belt to tighten. We're running out of ways of doing that. It's a problem that's not going away until something happens statewide.
Sources of funds, we have a $60 million general operating revenue, as you can see at the top of the page there. 90% of that comes from the local tax levy. 6% comes from state aid. That number has been relatively consistent over the last 15, 20 years at least. So they're not stepping up to help us manage this. Miscellaneous and reserves, about 4%. That's consistent year to year. And federal aid, which goes into a separate fund, we get maybe $1 million, so it's maybe 2% in total of the budget. And that goes for IDEA and the No Child Left Behind, or the Every Student Succeeds Act. So that's outside the scope of this budget discussion.
If I also can that is not part of the budget, that's some extra funding to pay for programs, but they're very important programs. And what I just heard last week, normally we would know the Title I, Title II, Title III, that funding around this time or a little later, or the application at least would be open. Last year was late in the summer. This year I'm hearing it's going to be June 15th with notification sometimes in July. And what I'm hearing is Title I and IDA money should be fine, but there's no rumors or discussion about some of the other funds in Title II, III, and IV, which doesn't mean they won't be fine, but there's no rumor mill out there about it. Okay? And that does provide a lot of our professional development comes out of those funds. A lot of funding that goes to English language learners and things like that comes out of those funds. So although it's not a major hit, it still would be have an impact. And again, that's all rumor mill right now.
As you know, the law requires that we can increase our tax levy no more than 2% every year as part of the budget. There are some allowable adjustments for that. There are 5 or 6 of them. There's only one this year that pertains to us. and that is, as we've already discussed, the increase in the health benefits for next year. So we have taken advantage of that. It's the only way to address those costs. It just does not fit into a 2% budget cap. What's in the budget is 27%. So, and even that is just kind of just squeaking by. We were advised, as Jack said, to do 30%. So, so the allowable adjustment, which came to about $2.4 million, is something that we have to do to avoid cuts in programs. And it's the one way we can get past the 2% cap for costs that exceed 2%. And just to give you some big numbers, in 26 and 27, our health benefits are budgeted at $11.4 million. Last year, the original budget was $8.2 million. We had to bump that up to $8.7 million. So that's when the 2026 premiums came in. So we took a hit on that in this year's budget. And so next year, we're looking at another $1.8 million, if I got that right. That's the 27% increase. So these are big numbers we're talking about here, and then these have a significant impact on everything in the district. State aid, $3.4 million last year. We did get a 5% increase this year. That equated to $172,000. So we're at almost $3.6 million this year. So we appreciate the increase, of course, but it's not really helping to address the health benefit numbers. The state has set guardrails for the past several years, so that as they adjust state aid, between a 3% decrease and a 6% increase. So we're at the top end of that, so we appreciate those things when they come. The history of state aid, this goes back about 10 years, it goes back to 17, 18. The blue box at the bottom is the state aid in millions each year. Like I said, it's up to about 3.5 million for 26, 27. The orange bars are our general operating budget. And you see that goes up every year. We know that it does. Costs go up, health benefits, salaries go up, everything goes up, just as it does in your home too. The state aid increases, as I mentioned before, are not keeping up with the increases in our general operating budget. The blue line running through the middle is the aid as the percent of the budget. So you see it's pretty much hovering around 6%. It's 5.9 for next year. It was 6.1 a couple years ago. So that's where we stand. That's what we're getting. So any questions on that? Miscellaneous revenue sources. We have excess surplus. That was what was left over out of the, I'm sure I got this right, 24-25 audit. That money by law has to go into now the 26-27 budget. So that is what we had in excess of our mandated reserves, the reserves that the state mandates we have. So that was in excess of that. We had saved $800,000. That goes into the 26-27 budget. Interest and miscellaneous, almost $300,000. Tuition from Bulldog Care, we're looking at $700,000 there. So bringing that into the budget. Capital reserve, we're using $558,000. I'll get into that in a couple minutes. And general fund balance, we have $152,000 that we're bringing in. So all these things were brought in to make sure we balance the budget.
And just a couple of quick comments on that. We took money and went and found a place to create accounts that gave us higher interest to try to make a little more interest money. Developing our own before and after care program to provide a better program at a better tuition rate to the parents and the kids, but also to bring some revenue in. We're putting less money, Mr. Kelly said he's going to get into it a little bit, into capital reserve than we have in past years. These are things, but then that means, we're keeping classrooms operating, but we can't do certain necessary facility improvements or enhancements. So we are looking everywhere to, in very limited opportunities that we do have, to bring revenue in.
Looking at the local tax levy for next year, current year tax levy was just over $50 million. That's what the local taxpayers are kicking in. 26-27 increase is $3.5 million. That includes that's the 2% as well as the adjustment we're allowed to take for the health benefits. So that brings us up to 53 million, and that represents a 6.9% increase. Okay, on the debt service side, which is not up for debate here, we've already committed to that, so we have to pay it. Our base this year, 25-26, is over $3 million. Adjustments for next year, as you know, we keep paying principal down every year, so that number comes down a little bit every year. So that's coming down $57,000 for next year. In addition, we are giving back to the taxpayers $1.165 million. This is referendum monies that were not used, so they go back to the taxpayer in the form of a reduced tax levy. That gives us, and that's a 40% decrease in our debt service tax levy. Overall impact is we're talking about a 4.2% increase in taxes for 26-27.
So last year, the tax increase was 4.2. What was felt, what was actually hit, and that's staying the same this year despite the higher increase, and because we're offsetting by the 1.1, almost 1.2 million dollar return of funds. Now, next year there'll be close to $1 million to give back as well. I think it's like 900 something, or yeah, what? 700,000. Okay, about 700,000 next year, because we were just under 2 million and divided up over 2 years. That money came from actually the careful management of the $48 million referendum. We started the referendum at the time, the project, we got it approved right before COVID, but the actual work started during COVID. And both diligence and luck, we got in before prices really started to go through the roof. So the nearly $2 million that was not spent of that 48 million goes back to the taxpayers in terms of relief. So 1.1 million this year, and whatever, somewhere in the 700,000 ballpark for next year. So that helps us a little bit to keep the real increase flat from last year, but still take advantage of of what we need to just make ends meet. We have cut things from the budget. We have really not added, but we haven't had to make tremendous cuts that are going to impact kids or programs. And we'll get to some of those in a minute.
So those are very good points. So you're seeing $1,165,000 come back this year. Next year you'll see $700,000, but that's it. That's the give back from the referendum funds. So in 2 years from now, you're going to see there's going to be a bit of a spike on the tax levy debt service. Even a bit of a spike next year because it's a much smaller give back than we have this year. So just something to keep in mind going forward. Out of district placements, we touched on this a couple minutes ago. The special needs students, classified students that we have in district. So they're classified through the IEP process, and then we have to put them in the appropriate programs. In many cases, we have the program in-house, and so we can put them there. But sometimes we're not able to accommodate them here, so we have to send them out. So we look to the South Bergen Jointure Commission. That's a public school district that specializes in, among other things, special ed programs. So we look to them. They're less expensive than some of the private programs. We will look to other public school districts, and we'll take students into our special ed programs as well on a tuition basis. So we'll look to other nearby school districts so that we can send our kids to if they have the appropriate program, and that would be a less expensive option too. As well, the most expensive option is private schools for students with disabilities. There are a lot of them out there. There's not a lot of control on what their tuition costs year after year, so they go up much higher than our 2% for sure. And in some very rare cases, there's some out-of-state programs we have to send kids to, but and that, as you can imagine, is more pricey even still.
And again, to put numbers behind percentages, we have approximately 90 students out of 2,700 students that are out of district. And that with that projected increase, the tuitions that are budgeted, I believe, are $6.3 million. Okay, so that's a lot of money. But it's services that students need, parents need, that no comprehensive public school can supply. But it's a lot of money, and as Mr. Kelly said, many of the the public school, the South Bergen Jointure, they are a public school as well. That specializes in special education. They cannot fund some of these higher level programs that are needed, so the private schools come in, and there's very little control over their tuition.
We briefly mentioned the capital reserve before. So what's in the budget for next year are these projects: $208,000 for HVAC and boiler repairs. That's throughout the district. $130,000 for plumbing and gutter repairs. That's Union and the high school have significant issues there. Roofing and gutter repairs, $45,000. That's at Pierpont. And playground improvements, which I know the board has been discussing over the past few months. In addition, we have the state-mandated SDA assessment so that we can help pay the SDA's debt service. So that all comes to $558,000. You saw that number earlier in the presentation. Capital Reserve Fund in total at the end of last year, 24-25, was about $700,000. So we're taking most of it right now, which leaves us about $150,000, which is a little scary. That's very thin. So we can put more money in this year. We're going through the budget now, and when we close it all out, I have no doubt that more money will be going into the Capital Reserve Fund. But think of other times we've had $2.5 to $3 million, and we've done some good work with that money. But it's getting, the budget is tight, so it's getting harder and harder to replenish this account.
Right. Most years we've had over $1 million, $2 million in capital reserve. We probably would plan $800,000, $900,000 or more in projects. This year we're doing half of that in order to keep the operation budget operational. And again, you're looking at, in this building, for example, if we had to replace a boiler, it would be an $800,000 job. So, when you have $2 million in capital reserve, if the boiler goes, you're going to be able to cover it. When you have $700,000 in capital reserve or $500 and other projects to do, you're keeping your fingers crossed a lot. But again, it's the reality of what we're dealing with the inflationary items that we talked about earlier that we can't control.
We do take advantage of leasing, which I think helps us to accomplish more than we would if we didn't. And every year we go out for leases for computer equipment and student and teacher devices, interactive panels, have a new telephone system, file server replacement, the computer lab. These are all things we go out for a lease purchase financing option on that one. So it allows us to do more than just paying cash outright. And we get decent rates, interest rates, but it does allow us to stretch our money a little bit further. So like you said, you use leasing to support large expenses and annual budgets. So we'll continue to do that. Keeping in mind that once you have a lease, that's a commitment that's been made. So if the budget goes south, that commitment still has to be made, which means programs may suffer because of it, but I don't think we're that exposed here that it's a major concern. But just keep in mind, this is a commitment that we have to honor going forward. The district cost per pupil. This is the Dr. Racine slides here. we've talked about this one before. We're looking at our cost per pupil compared to other equivalent districts. These are Bergen County K-12 districts that I'll be showing you in a minute, and to show how our spending is compared to our peers. So these are all the Bergen County K-12 districts who are in our district factor group, which I'll get into in a second. So it's all information is all coming from the Department of Ed, their Taxpayer's Guide to Education Spending from 2025. That's the most recent. You can look at that yourself if you want to. So there are 21 separate indicators. We're looking at the budgetary per pupil cost, and it looks at comparable costs from district to district. So, for example, I don't know if this is true or not, but if Leonia does not have busing, and we do to a limited extent, or we have limited busing, whereas other, like Paramus, probably has extensive busing, transportation is cut out of this comparison because it's not comparable among all the 9 districts that are in this group. So the district factor groups were developed in 1975. They were last updated in 2000. Are they right? Could they stand an update? Yeah, probably, but this is what we've got. It's defined as an approximate measure of a community's relative socioeconomic status. So all these 9 districts I'm going to show you are considered to be roughly the same socioeconomic status. They're looking at percentage of adults with high school diploma. They're looking at occupational status, unemployment rate, percentage of individuals in poverty, and median family income. Just to give you a sense of what the district factor groups are, A tend to be the lower socioeconomic groups, Newark, Union City, West New York. J is the higher groups, Ridgewood, Saddle River, Hohokus. We are in the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there are 8 groups. We're in the third one from the top. That's GH with Fairlawn and Paramus. Some of our neighbors here, East Rutherford, as you can see, is in the CD group. Carlstadt, Lyndhurst, North Harlingen are in DE. So that gives you a sense of how the state is looking at Rutherford. I think most people in the audience got a paper copy of this presentation, so you can probably read it than you can off this, but I'll talk you through it. So these are numbers from the Taxpayer's Guide to Education Spending, 2025, like I said. The light green bar on the left in each pair is the 23-24 actual. This is the most recent information they have. The darker green is the 24-25 budget. So as you can see, the budget in all but one case is above the prior year actual, that one case being us. And I'll read you the towns going from left to right. Midland Park, Paramus, Teaneck, Westwood, Waldwick, Emerson, Fairlawn, Leonia, and Rutherford. So we spend less per pupil than our peers in Bergen County. And in some cases, like Midland Park, we're significantly less. They're up at $25,000 a student. We're at 18. That's a big difference. And I think over time, our programs have grown, our programs are strong. So we've done a lot with the little amount that we're getting for our students relative to these other districts. I should point out the last 2 sets of columns, the one on the left is the average of these 9 districts. So of course, Rutherford being the lowest cost is below average. The 2 columns on the far right is the state average. So even considering that the northern region, Bergen County, is very expensive, and the south, go down to Millville and Atlantic City, be a lot cheaper. But we're still spending less than that state average per pupil. It's just an interesting statistic here. Okay. So this was the timeline for completing the budget. You see we checked off the last one, which is the public hearing on the budget, which is tonight. Final Board of Ed approval, hopefully. This week, we'll be opening up the system, assuming the board approves the budget, we'll be opening up the system, so we'll start purchase orders for next year. I do want to point out one change from the state this year. We've always had to run an ad in the paper, and this is about half a page in the Bergen Record. This year, we no longer have to do that, so we did not do it. I think in terms of bang for a buck, that's not the best way to spend anything. So what we've done instead, and which is what the state is asking for, is that we have a link on our homepage. It says public notices, and the advertised budget is located there. And that's the way we'll be doing it going forward. So I think that's it. And that was posted a week ago, last Monday. So, okay, any questions on all that from the board, please? Okay.
So I do want to take a minute and thank Mr. Whitford, our former BA, Mr. Kelly, for picking up right where he left off seamlessly. Mr. Hurley and the Finance Committee. I think as a board we know there's probably nothing more important than being fiduciaries and fiscally responsible with taxpayers' dollars. And this is, in my 10 years on the board and 4 or 5 years as president, definitely the tightest budget that I've seen. Each one of us brings a different perspective in different industries we work in, personally and professionally. I run a school. I work with a CFO and a board. But I have to say that all the things that the Finance Committee has done really to leave no stone unturned between different creative cost savings that Mr. Hurley and our BA found in looking at next year, the miscellaneous revenue sources, the out-of-district placements, which are down, which, keeping students in the district saves money, doing half the capital projects. If you look at the spending per pupil, all of these things are things that I think as a Finance Committee and as a board we're really pleased about, because beyond that you get into cutting people and programs. And that is really what we're trying to avoid. And a lot of this is, like Mr. Hurley said, driven by the health benefits premium increase. One of the things I would just add is the Finance Committee and also the Strategic Planning Committee talked about the Strategic Planning Committee getting together and just doing some strategic thinking and planning, that Mr. Hurley and the would help to lead with the BA, just thinking about certain fixed costs that we know of, salaries for the 3 different units or fixed costs, looking at assumptions over the next couple of years so we can really start to project out, not just, where are things now, where are things next year, but 2, 3, 4 years down the line with the things that we're seeing, how do we plan for that in the long term? And I think that is going to be really, really important as well. So I just wanted to thank Mr. Hurley again, Mr. Whitford and Mr. Kelly for all their work on this. Are there any questions about the budget presentation? I know that during the portion where we go into finance, we will be approving that. So,
Me from the board right now.
yep. So just I know we've talked about this. This is the 3rd time you're seeing this budget presentation. It's up on video in our early March and our later March meeting where we had these discussions. So we've kind of discussed this a lot in Finance Committee and in open session as well. But, Dr. Racine?
That's exactly what you said, that this is the tightest, scariest budget I've seen since I've been on the board. And like you were saying, Mr. Early, this is a statewide crisis, but just the fact that even though it's such a tight budget, that we are still doing okay for now, right? It's something that it's a really good sign for us. Mm-hmm. But this is something that has to be fixed at a state level, because it's been unsustainable for anybody, and we're seeing districts that fall left and right. I just want to thank you, Mr. Kelly, for coming back and having fresh eyes on this as well, coming to the same conclusion of this is tight, and there's not much more we can do here. So,
And also, obviously, we've thanked you in the past for this as well, but, to do a referendum, to do every single project and come in $2 million under budget so that money can go back to the taxpayer over a 2-year period is going to be helpful as well. So you saw that in the presentation for this year going into next year, and then next year going into the following year.
Right. Also, just, was not in the presentation, but just for everybody's awareness. First time we've ever, and I've been in the district 48 years, first time we've ever froze no increase for any building or department spending. So they had 0%, so they're going to operate next year with the same budget that they operated this year. We also had 3 retirements, 2 in custodial position, 1 in a maintenance position. We're not going to replace the maintenance position. That gentleman who retired was out for a while, and we managed, not great, but we managed, so we took that out of the budget. And the 2 custodial positions that were our custodians, because we have a hybrid, right, with our custodians and outsourced custodians, we're going to outsource those 2 positions for next year's budget because that provide us with some saving. We are reducing at least 1 teacher aide position, again, through attrition. So we also, took a very deep dive into all positions and, to see where there would be any fat, and really couldn't find any. But those are the areas that we were able to make some cuts. And we also cut technology's budget. We're foregoing some equipment that we were going to get, and we also took some money to go along with the capital reserve cut. We also took some money from the maintenance budget, again, hoping that we could just keep things together for a year. So those are where we made some cuts. But see, we're in the business of kids, and we're not putting we're not going to go from 23 kids in a class to 32 kids in a class. We're not going to go where we're cutting a program the students can't take advantage of. That's going to be something that we're going to, do what we can for as long as we can not to do that step.
All right, so we are going to move to the report of the superintendent, then we'll have the report of the president, and then we will...
Just as one gentleman has hand up,
And then after the report of the president, we'll open the meeting to the public for anything related to or not related to the agenda. And at that point, that is part of where we open it up as part of the public forum for anyone who wants to give feedback on the budget presentation. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Hurley.
Thank you. Very quick report tonight because we had the budget presentation. I do want to welcome tonight he's on the agenda for approval. We had the once and future BA up here, okay? But Mr. Alex Konofsky, who is going to be hopefully with the board's approval, our BA beginning July 1. So Alex, thanks for being here tonight. We didn't put you on the hot seat. We didn't make you answer any questions tonight, okay? But that'll be your job next year. So welcome. I also want to make mention that in the agenda, you will see numbers that you've seen before. Those are the HIB self-reflection on training and programs for kids and training and programs for faculty. By state statute, I have to get the board's approval of those numbers to submit them, and then once the state accepts them, which they did, I have to then get the board awareness, not approval. I have to report that the state has accepted them. And again, those numbers of a 75, 76 and the like, the highest score you could get is a 78. So, it's not based on 100. So those are excellent scores. And check your calendars if you are or the website. May and June rather, bring a lot of art shows and concerts and plays and athletic events. So too numerous to mention, but I sent you some dates to the board, and for everybody, they're on the calendar. I advise you all double check the calendar because those dates I take from the master calendar, and sometimes things change because of conflicts. And last thing is, I just found out this afternoon that one of our 8th graders, Hawa Rande, I hope I'm saying the name correctly, she is a state winner in the PTA Reflections essay contest. So she'll go on to the national competition. Just found that out this afternoon. So congratulations to her. Okay, and that's it.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments from board members? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the report of the president. I will also keep it brief. So first of all, thank you, Mr. Hurley, for in your memo to us all the upcoming events so that we can all do our best to attend those and be visible in the community. You know which one I'm going to highlight. It's the last bullet on there. June 23rd, Rutherford High School graduation, 6:30 p.m. Please put it on your calendars. We've had full attendance the last last few years, so want to get everyone to be there for that in celebration of our high school students. Also, I just wanted to thank Mr. Hurley for the Portrait of a Rutherford graduate feedback report. You know, when a district, a school creates a portrait of a graduate, it's really that end point. And so when you think about the end point, you know, a district's job is to think about how do we get to that end point. To that, Mr. Hurley has really discussed with us and spearheaded over time ways in which the qualities of a portrait of a graduate are infused into programs and curriculum. And I think that's been great. And the next step, just getting feedback about how that's going, where are the bright spots, where are the areas we can continue to focus on. It's really helpful for all of us, so thank you for that.
Thank you. And a reminder that at the May 11th meeting, excuse me, the advisory board, who's put together the projects that are going to be in place next year, are going to come and make a brief presentation to the board and let you see what the projects are at the various grade levels. So that'll be the May 11th meeting.
Yep. Okay. That's our next one, May 11th. Yep. For those of you who haven't been, the end of the year party for the Rutherford District is always a lot of fun. So if you're able to come, please respond by May 15th. It's on June 11th at 5:30 p.m. Is this confirming we have in the Personnel Committee, you think, next Monday?
I don't think, I talked to Ms. Cole, I don't think we need to.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we'll just confirm offline. It looks like we won't be having the Personnel
Yeah,
Committee.
I don't think we will. I'll send something out tomorrow to the committee to see, but for sure. Okay.
All right. That is it for my...
Can I add one more reminder to your reminders? Mr. Kelly had put out something about the school board's convention and workshop in October. I know it's early, but it's a huge event, and bookings go fast. So if you can, by Friday, keep in mind that if you're uncertain and you want to go, we could always pull back if someone. So, but we want to try to get that settled, especially with the transition with the VA. I want to make sure nothing, gets lost in the shuffle. Okay. So if a yes by Thursday or Friday would be great. If it's a no, no need to say no. But if we don't hear from you, we assume it's a no. Okay.
All right, that's it for me. Any questions about my report? All right, hearing none. At 7:49 p.m., we're going to open up the meeting to the public for anything related to or not related to the agenda. We'll ask you to please come up to the microphone there, and if you don't mind, just stating your name and your address, and welcome.
Yes, excuse me, everybody here at the evening. My name is Jeff Kumar. I'm a resident of Vandenberg Avenue, and I'm calling, I'm speaking in reference to the adult school. Will we have that again? I know you used to have that, I think, and then once COVID hit, I think they stopped it. Will they bring that back?
No, the adult school was a separate organization that the board kind of ran under its umbrella.
Oh.
The board did not control it, and their board of directors, I think it was a product of the shift to online opportunities. Enrollment kept decreasing for them. They couldn't manage it anymore, so they folded up shop about, 6 years ago or so? About 5 or 6 years ago. And there are still a few around in the area, but not as many as there used to be. So, no, they're gone. Okay?
So you don't feel that you will bring it back at all in the future?
It's not ours. It was a private group that came in
Yeah.
and ran it. And if you, right now, we would not undertake, the board would not, nor should the board undertake an adult school. And even if the board could do it or should do it, as you just heard, we're trying to keep what we have afloat. Right. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Howdy. My name's. Ooh, I can't pull this up at all. It's all right. Can you hear me if I talk like this?
Sure.
Yeah. My name's Eddie Raymond. Live 95 Orient Way. Senior here at RHS. I'm not here to talk about the budget, although I really do appreciate you guys trying to keep everything in budget and trying not to cut programs. I'm a big. I'm in the marching band. I'm a drum major in the marching band, so I really appreciate that personally. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the board's current approach towards learning language models and generative AI. Just trying to provide a student's perspective on how I think the current plan has been effective in classrooms, which has been, it's been unfortunate because I've been following what the board has planned. I know that there is a focus on trying to integrate the technology into classrooms in an effective way to encourage student creativity. And I know there was a big highlight on not replacing student effort and students' ability to learn, but rather enhancing it. Unfortunately, I have noticed that that really hasn't been the case in most classrooms. I think in some of the STEM classrooms, it can be helpful for code, and it's very specific to those circumstances. But I know that the board has has said that they want to take cautionary measures to make sure that they're not implementing anything too quickly. But I guess the best way to explain what I'm trying to say is just painting a picture. Like, in class, most of the times I felt over the past year that as a student, the learning has been less. Unless I'm in my AP classes where I'm learning specifically to a test. When it comes to honors or regular classes, there is no learning for a specific test, and therefore the incentive to make sure that students are doing better than besides just a grade is diminished. And as someone who actually, I know, crazy for a student to say this, enjoys doing work, enjoys learning. I feel like a little bit of a cop, but it's okay. I do. I enjoy coming to school to learn, and it feels as though we're often encouraged to cheat. We're encouraged to take easy ways out of assignments, easy ways out of doing any work. I know in my English class is just an example, and this is many of my peers is their English classes. The incentive to read the book is gone. I mean, SparkNotes has always been a thing. I'm not gonna lie and say that hasn't been the case, but things like that require actual critical thinking have been lessened to the point where it feels a bit numbing in certain classes. It feels a bit numbing, and I think this is going to continue to be a trend with the current approach. I'm going to be honest, I am giving completely my own anecdotal experience, and I really would encourage the board to speak to other students and try and get those experiences, talk to teachers. But where things are going right now, I think that the current approach can be relooked at. And I just wanted to hear what you guys think about that. And maybe, I honestly, I do not bring any solutions. I'm asking you guys to think about that a bit. But thank you.
Thank you. So first of all, I just wanted to say thank you. When we have meeting open to the public, it's not usually always a back and forth, but if there is something that we feel we can sort of share in the moment, we do like to share that. So I did want to mention one quick thing, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Hurley if he has any follow-up. And just to sort of clarify the role of the board and the role of the district operational leadership in terms of the important feedback that you have. So as a board, we're a strategic board, so part of our goal is to make sure that resources are allocated appropriately, that we are fiduciaries, that we're thinking strategically about the future of the district. In terms of programmatic things that are unfolding and feedback that students have, definitely would encourage, going to sort of the operational leaders within the district who are making those sort of programmatic decisions, and also in real time taking feedback about what your lived experiences are. So definitely starting with classroom teachers or with the principal, like Mr. Morano, and even then to Mr. Hurley as the superintendent. They make the sort of operational programmatic decisions, and we sort of support those on a strategic level by getting updates about those, and again, just seeing where there are kind of new policies and new things being brought up to speed. But just want to make sure that in terms of the operational leadership also has your feedback and thoughts, and if students have feedback, I know that I'm sure that the principals will appreciate hearing that as well. So just wanted to share that piece about kind of the role of the board, which we always love hearing from the community. So definitely appreciate your thoughts. And Mr. Early.
Yeah, I would suggest, and thank you for coming, I would suggest that you talk to someone in the building, whether it be Mr. Morano or Mr. Met, who used to be in the building, as now he's the supervisor of technology. We have a district-wide committee that's working on integration of AI and other aspects of technology, and I think Mr. Met would like to hear your thoughts or thoughts from other students. I know we did a student survey earlier in the year. We have another one going out to parents, and AI was on that survey. I don't remember off the top of my head if it was on the survey that students had the opportunity to do, but I'll go back and check that. But yeah, I think that would be a good thing to do. I think we have about 15 teachers across the district who have been working for the past year and are going to continue to work next year, and Mr. Met chairs that. So if you get a chance to go and talk to him, I think that would be a good place to kind of share with him what you shared with the board. And also a good opportunity for, as Dr. Alati said, people are in the building and on the ground floor, right? Could also take a look into some of the things you're talking about. Like you're saying, you're giving anecdotal experience from yourself, and they could look to see whether that is anecdotal experience to you or is it more systemic, and they can take a look at that. So I would encourage you to do that. I'm going to let both Mr. Met, Mr. Brown know. If you don't want to reach out to them, maybe they'll reach out to you to have a conversation.
No,
No?
I have a good relationship with them.
Okay, so go reach out to them. I think it would be good.
But yeah, I would also appreciate if you reached out. I mean, absolutely.
Yep. Okay?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Other questions and comments? Meeting open to the public?
Frank Wilson, 171 Montrose Ave. It's been a while since I've been here. Nice to see you back. I was looking at the budget, the real budget, not the Cliff Noted version, and a couple of things stood out at me. First, if any of you haven't seen the real budget, you should really look at the real budget. Students went up 72 students projected, and I'm curious as to what kind of an algorithm you used to raise it, because if you go back till 2019, there's no algorithm that pushes it from where it was 2515 to 2587. There's no algorithm in the last 6 years that would justify that big an increase. So I'm curious as to how you push that up to say 72 kids are going to be here when there's nothing in the past that shows that big an increase. Because that equates to like $1.4 million in the budget by increasing it that high. So that's one question. Second question is I look and I see healthcare. We all keep talking about healthcare, but the town contributes 91%, according to this, to the healthcare, and the rank and file contribute 9%. Now, I don't know what the contract shows, but the next time you start talking to the NJEA, the way things are right now, I think 9% contributing is a little on the low side. Okay, I've got to pay, it's right here, I got to pay more than that in Social Security and Medicare and the supplements and all that stuff. I'm sure some of you will get to that.
Can you just repeat those numbers again?
According to this is from your budget, I got it printed out. It says total employee share of the budget, $1,452,366. Okay. Total district share, $11,410,514. It's right off your budget.
Okay.
So according to that, that means that they're contributing 9%, and we're contributing 91%. There's something wrong with that picture. The police pay more than that. I paid more than that. I pay a lot more than that now to Social Security, 9%. So when everybody talks healthcare, 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 yeah, we're the healthcare. According to this, it's 9% to the rank and file. It's right off of you. This is your budgets, okay? And I look at this, and then I see the budget since, for the last 6 years, it's gone up $15 million. So it averages a $2.7 million increase over the last 6 years. We're all saying how much we're cutting back, and everything else. But I didn't get a chance to really dig into this. I only picked a few, choice spots. But seeing the kids, when the cost per child is $20,000, that's going to raise that up, raise it up 1.4 million. And you keep saying healthcare, and if we have to contribute 91%, that's a big chunk. So if it's in the contract, there's nothing you can do about it. But when the new contract comes up, you really got to take a look at this because things changed.
If I could just one point of clarification. There is no negotiating under state law on health benefit. So if they're under Chapter 78, or I believe it's if you're in the what we call Direct 10, Direct 15, the employees are paying about 28% of the premium. If they are in the teacher's educator plan, which all new hires in the last 3 years, I believe, have to be in that plan, they are paying a percentage of their salary, not a percentage of the premium. That is state law. That law sunsets in 2027, and then we're going to be waiting to hear our marching orders from the state again. So like I said before, we cannot negotiate the health benefit contribution. It is in state code.
Well, this shows they're paying 9%.
Well, whatever that's showing, I don't have that in front
I'll
of me.
leave it for you.
Well, no,
This is
I'm
yours.
not disputing what you're saying.
I'm just telling you. So
What I'm
something's wrong
telling you is-
someplace then, because according to this, they're
Mr.
paying
Wilson,
9.
I'm not disputing what you're saying. What I'm trying to explain is we can't negotiate it. It's in state code. Do I agree with the state code? Absolutely not. The educator's plan that became part of the code put more burden on the school district than on the employee, okay? Because instead of paying a percentage of the premium, you're paying a percentage of your income. So the premium goes up, all that increase is going on the district side.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What
Okay,
I'm telling
I
you
get
is,
it.
like I said earlier, we cannot solve that problem. That is a state legislative problem.
Well, the healthcare problems, I just left Borough Hall also. They get this meeting on the same day, and I said, between the two of you got to change it. So I ran from there to here. And I asked them the same question, all right? And they say the same thing about healthcare. I don't know if you have one separate healthcare plan and your municipal has another separate healthcare plan. But between the two of them, if we're both spending over $10 million on healthcare and we pool the resources, we got to be able to get a better package from the insurance companies. Don't know if you can do it, and don't know if it's church and state, but if they're paying that much to the right end and you're paying that much to the left end, if you put them together, just like paying your car insurance and your home insurance, there's got to be a better bundle that we can get between the two of them, okay? Because seeing the numbers that they're both paying, the only ones making money is the insurance companies. So there's got to be a better way to hook the two of them together. That, and like I says, if you look at children coming in, the 72, I think it's too high because the algorithms prior to that don't show it, which will drop your budget then. Okay, so your budget, when you're presented budget, it'll actually look a little bit less if you look at just that one thing because that algorithm, it doesn't show anywhere. That's it, thanks. Nice to see you back.
Thank you. Thank you. And we did have our broker, Brown & Brown, for health benefits, look into self-insuring. And it did not come back favorable, but we did not look into it partnering with anybody else. So, again, we've turned over every rock we can to look. We'll turn over that rock too and have them take a look at it. Okay.
All right, any other comments during the open portion of this meeting? All right, hearing none, then at 8:06 p.m., we're going to close the meeting to the public, and we're going to move on to new business where there is action to be taken. We will begin with personnel, and each of our committees is reported on by the chair of that committee. So, Mrs. Cole.
Good evening. Personnel did not meet this month. We have 17 motions to be put forth tonight at the recommendation of the superintendent. I'm going to move motions 1 through 17 under personnel.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second? All right, Mr. Sprayberry. Comments and questions about personnel?
I just want to mention that Diane Rosamilia, who's been with us probably 25 or 30 years as a teacher assistant, will be retiring actually on October 1st. And of course, I already mentioned Alex, who's here tonight. So I want to comment on those two positions.
All right, thank you. All right, so we had Ms. Cole move those, Mr. Sprayberry seconded. So, Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cates? Ms. Cates, excuse me.
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry? Dr. Owati?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder to the public, each of these committee reports we do by consent agenda. And so a lot of the discussion takes place in committees. And also we do consent agenda instead of reading through every item, since the public can read through it, so we can focus on any discussion and questions. So moving on to curriculum and instruction, Ms. Jones.
Thank you. We also did not have a CNI meeting, and there are 3 motions that have been put forth by the recommendation of the superintendent, and I move motions 1 through 3.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. Bogosian. Questions and comments about curriculum and instruction? All right, hearing none. Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Ms. Cates?
I abstain from number 1, but yes for 2 and 3.
Thank you. Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Owati?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on now to finance. Mr. Bogosian.
Good evening. We did not have a finance committee meeting since our last full board meeting. Tonight on the agenda, we have 5 motions to consider. I'd like to move motions 1 through 5 under finance.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second? Mr. Healy. Questions and comments on finance? Dr. Racine?
You said number 3 is just because of the change in personnel, right? That's what we're leaving?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other questions? All right, hearing none. Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
I'm sorry, was there a second?
Yeah, Mr. Healy seconded on that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Ms. Cates?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Owati?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was, we said that.
All right, next we have policy. Mr. Healy.
Yes, we did not have a policy committee since the last board meeting, and there are no resolutions.
Okay. Then we'll move on to buildings and grounds. Mr. Sprayberry.
Good evening. We did not have a buildings and ground meeting this past month. We have 2 motions for gas and electric supply to move forward at the recommendation of the superintendent. I can move those forward.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second on that? All right, Ms. Cole. Questions and comments on buildings and grounds. Mr. Sprayberry.
Yes, on the gas supply one, if you look at the 18-month one, it's lower than the other, the 24-month and the 36-month.
I think those are just the market conditions, but we'll see how they all play out
So
tomorrow.
it's cheaper to go 18 months than it is to go 24
Could
or
be,
30?
could be, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll take a look. Tomorrow are these auctions, so we'll see how these numbers all play out. But these are just kind of a sense as to where where they were at the time that they were set for this motion, so.
That was just, it's cheaper. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Other questions?
How can I get these electric rates? Because these are really good.
Just need a long extension cord.
That's not that long.
You could probably do it.
All right. Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Ms. Cates?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Oladi?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to old business. Is there any old business? Ms. Jones?
I know that Sarah reported on the pop cert, but I would just like to say that I did attend it, and it was wonderful. What was really terrific for me was to see David Bogosian, James's son, play with Brian Ursulisi. They did a wonderful song and acting. Coming from when David was a freshman and asked Brian if they could do a duet or not a duet, but an act together. And he says, well, ask me when you're a senior. And Brian Ursulisi totally expected him to forget, but he did not. And they were wonderful. They really were. So I'm hoping, and I'm saying this in public, that Charlotte, who is Brian's daughter, who is also a fantastic actress, she's in the plays and so forth, asked her father to do a duet when she is a senior. So let's hope for that. But it was terrific. It always is.
I thought you were going to say David sang for a minute. I was like, whoa, did I miss that?
No.
All right. Any other old business? Thank you, Ms. Jones. Then we're going to move on to legislative update. Anything for us?
This one, Senate Bill 3824, introduced on March 10th by Senator Paul Sarlo, that's our senator, of course, and Owen Henry, requires extraordinary special education aid to schools districts for students with costs over $55,000 to be assessed by the county which the student district is located. 55,000 is kind of low for.
Yeah. I mean, the jointure is higher than that now.
Yeah, but I mean, most of them are higher than that. So I don't know where that's going to go. Get some aid would be wonderful.
I could tell you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. At 8:14 p.m., we're going to open the meeting to the public for a second time for anything related to or not related to the agenda. Seeing no comments, we're going to close the meeting. And we do have a need for an executive session
Issues,
for 3 student issues.
5 minutes.
About 5 minutes, no action to be taken. Need a motion to go into executive session. Mr. Sprayberry, seconded by Mr. Healy. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are going into executive session. Thank you.